Oh shit. Here we go again.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm gonna zoom in on that.
Please do. Just so you know. Okay.
Just so you know. Well, right, guys, we already jumped into it because they started the show before I said started. So, welcome to another episode of Uncomfortable, guys. This is episode 12, and I got my guests with me here today. Let them know who you guys are.
All right, you go first.
Me?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Jaylene. I don't know.
Say
Well, I
your
know me
age.
from high school.
Okay, there we go.
We went to high school together.
Okay.
I'm 23 years old. I'm from the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Nationality, maybe, and then
I'm Dominican. I'm Dominican. If you haven't noticed.
okay.
Nationality, maybe.
Maybe your job, what you do.
Okay, so
She said,
I
okay,
work
so-
for a nonprofit agency.
Mm.
It's really complicated to explain, but I'll get into it later in the video. Basically, I work for like a supportive housing program. So I have like a caseload of clients that I do all sorts of things with them. So like I'm like their informal counselor because I'm not a therapist yet.
Okay.
So
Yeah, you're practicing. You're getting it.
I
Studying.
want to, but we'll get
Get
into
into
it
that.
later.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get into that because it gets complicated.
Okay.
All right.
Elijah.
Well, my name is Elijah Dormius. I am a graduate of the only institution that developed men with disciplined minds who lead lives of leadership and service, Morehouse College.
Is there like a sound for that? Like, does
you
it
know,
moo?
You know, it's
You
more
should
like it's more like the house like
Oh, okay.
get with the program.
Okay.
So you know, so there's that, and then so I am the founder and CEO of the I Am Foundation. Stay tuned for more,
That's right.
where we lead, encourage, and motivate students to see themselves greater than their circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know what it felt like to have people always tell you
Right.
can't,
Right.
and never actually help you to get to the can. So. That's what I do, and
Right.
I really believe in my mission. I believe in what we're gonna do. So,
And I believe in our mission as
you
a
know.
collective.
Oh, and I know Mia because she got her hair done with my sister,
It's
but I
fine.
never met her then. But I met her after then, and
Exactly.
then I met her through my other friend, Azania. And then it's a long story.
It's a long story, but we connected.
we
all
here, we
connected.
connect the dots.
We here.
man.
Somehow we're
all
Yeah.
connected,
here
right?
today.
And my nappy hair is here too. Let's do it.
Okay. I don't think his hair is nappy.
I appreciate it.
So I'm guessing you guys are probably guessing why we're here today because I have Jaylene here, I have Elijah here. They introduce themselves. You guys probably like, well, what the fuck are you guys gonna talk about? Well, it's not sex. I'll tell you that much. What we're here to talk about today is actually mental health. If you guys know, I think we're in Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm not sure still if this is May.
I believe we still are.
We still
Yes.
are. We still are. This
Is it
episode
time?
won't air at that
Like 2
time,
days
but this is the point: is to do
Right.
it during Mental Health Awareness Month. So I will start with an icebreaker question, and I will ask, what experiences have you guys had with mental health? Either with yourself, a family member, anybody that you know,
Okay.
just dealing with mental health and anything like that. So you went and introduced yourself first, so you're gonna go first too.
Okay, cool.
Break the ice. Drop the mic.
Yes.
So experiences, like I don't mind getting personal. I told you this.
Right.
So for me, like a lot of people from our generation, I suffer from like chronic anxiety, like clinical anxiety. I see a therapist for it. I suffer from like cycles of depression. But what I wanted to like mention was like growing up, I had no knowledge of this.
Right.
Like no knowledge.
Now, why would they teach you, right?
Like that was just never like a thing. Like
Yeah.
my mom never was like, oh, let me check in on you. How are you today? How are you feeling?
Right,
Like that was
right.
just like, it was never a thing. So like growing up, I always thought that I was fine and there was, nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
Not that there is anything wrong with you. Like if you have mental health issues, I don't mean it like that. But
Right. No,
yeah,
we know.
So,
Just
let
meant
me
like not
see.
having not diagnosing something. Well, not diagnose something, but not treating something that you
yeah,
know
like
that
I
you
wasn't
have, or
like
you're
I
dealing
wasn't
with.
aware of it.
Yeah.
Like I just wasn't aware of it. And like people in my family too. No one ever talked about it. It was just a thing. Like the Hispanic Black culture too. Like that's just for the most part that's how it is in the household. Like
Yeah.
no, everybody's just like, oh, like you're good, you'll
Yeah.
be fine or whatever.
Right.
So
Okay,
like
yeah.
like, growing up, that's how I was. And then it wasn't until like I was in college, a good friend of mine was like, I'm grateful for him because he was the one that like pushed me, and he was like, hey, like go see a therapist. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But I was a psych major. I went to college at Mount St. Vincent because you mentioned your school. I went to a very small school.
The house.
Nobody knows. No one knows about CMSV. Trust me, it's in Riverdale. No one cares about it. But yeah, I was a psych major. So in my head, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm studying this. I'm good. Like,
Right.
I'm not the problem. It was like this like big ego that I had. But then it started like affecting like my relationships with people, friends, like family, like, and I just wasn't noticing and I wasn't handling it. And it wasn't until I went to therapy, my therapist was like, okay, so let's go through the extensive shit that
Right.
you've been through.
Right.
She's like, so you have trauma,
Right.
which is like a whole subset.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's like
Which
you
I-
should do an episode on that,
yeah.
by the way.
Which I think
'Cause that's a good
everybody,
topic.
literally, I think everybody has trauma. Like, no matter
No,
what
right.
shape, size, form, whatever you are, age, anything, we all have trauma. As you grow up from an adult, from a child, there's just certain things you see, certain things you hear, certain things
Yeah.
you go through that children shouldn't see and go through. And we all have trauma. And I think even our parents, it's generational shit. It's literally generational trauma, just like that.
No, right.
You know, so I feel like that's something that we all deal with. And when you have no one to teach you, no one to talk to you about it, it just continues. It's a cycle.
Yeah, of course.
And it'll continue to grow. And with your examples, like your stories, like no one talked to you about it. You didn't know, you didn't have the knowledge. So it just accumulated.
Yeah,
and not saying it
like
got
years.
Yeah, and
worth
not
of
saying
trauma.
it just
Like,
not saying it got to a like it was worse, but it definitely didn't help that you didn't get the help that you needed at the time. You know, it just took more time and time and time for you to realize. And so, you know, this
and I just want to add in there, I feel like it's also like the unawareness of it all too. I know we mentioned it, but it's like, why would someone want to address something that's not there? And then like we as a people, African Americans and Hispanic people, like we don't believe, from my experience, okay, just me, we don't believe in the mental health like realm in a sense of if my child needs to get help now so he can be good in the future, because we believe they could just slap on the wrist, you'll be okay.
Exactly.
You're just fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I feel like, in all honesty, when we're done with mental health, like I wouldn't know that I had a problem or have a problem if I never had a chance to address the problem.
Right.
But I just get to patty over it. So it's an interesting dynamic to think
Definitely,
about.
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like my therapist was like, and I've had multiple therapists, but like I've been in therapy for like 3 years now, and she was my first, and she's like, so you've dealt with trauma, so I had to like deal with all that. I still am. That's something that you like live with, you know?
Right.
It's just you're healing from it every day.
Mm-hmm.
What else? So I get like cycles of depression. I get seasonal depression.
Yeah.
Like anxiety to this day. Like I still have to deal with anxiety. Like so many things that she's like, so no one ever talked to you. She was just like shocked, but like she's like, you know what? This is the first step, and good thing you're taking it now. And I was like 19. She's like, and you're not like 40
Yeah.
with kids, and you're married, and
you're
you got a
stuck in your
mortgage.
ways,
You're stuck in your
You're
ways.
stuck in
yeah.
your ways. Like a lot of my clients that I work with, like
Yeah.
they're much older, so it's
And a
it's
lot of the older
completely
generation. Yeah,
different,
exactly.
So like for me, that's kind of like what got me into like therapy, and like I just learned so much from it. And from moving from there, like I started like really like advocating big on mental health. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like all my friends' therapists. Like they just come to me and I'm like,
It's the
listen,
best
let's talk
way,
about
honestly.
it.
Yeah.
Grab a glass of wine, like whatever. Like that's what's pretty much helped for me. But like I'm trying to think what else. I'm getting off on a
Oh,
tangent.
I had a question.
I'm like, I'm getting off
Can I
on
ask
a
a
tangent.
question?
Yeah,
Okay,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know you're dealing with, you have your own mental health stuff that you're working on, and
Right.
you're working with clients with it. Do you feel like when you're working with your clients on the counseling and
Yeah.
I can't get the exact words for
Right.
it, but not the normal way of doing things, do you feel like you're also helping yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
I know.
So it's kind of
I get what you're
therapeutic.
saying. Yes, like social work is not easy. I tell people this all the time. Like the
Yeah.
field that I'm in
Doesn't
is
seem like
not easy,
Yeah, no.
and that's what I was gonna get into. Is one of the reasons why I'm probably not gonna pursue it. Like I think I'm gonna gear myself into something else. Still like helping people though,
Mhm.
but
You feel like it's a lot on you.
it's a lot. Like
Mhm.
I've been working in this field for about a year since I graduated college, and it's a lot. Like I don't regret it. Like I don't hate it or anything like that, but it's like in the setting that I'm in, it's difficult because these are people that like I work with people who have like most of them they have a diagnosis. A lot of them use substances, like, and I'm not talking about weed. Like they use hardcore substances. I've seen it. I've like witnessed it. Like a lot of these people, they have a lot of trauma, PTSD, and it's like, they come to me like today I had a client and she was just like, oh my God, let me tell you, like, I'm not going to get into detail, but
Right.
she's like, you know, I went through X, Y, and Z, and I'm just there like trying like to not cry because like it's hard. And then it's like, you know, you try to like divide work
From your
From,
personal
from like
life,
your personal,
yeah.
but like sometimes I'll
It
catch
just
myself
leaks- it
coming
just
home
leaks in, yeah.
and I'm like, damn, like I really feel for this client. Like,
Mm.
and then it's hard because like I was telling you earlier, like coming from the Bronx, like I grew up in the Bronx, like we're such like an underserved community and like these people lack so many resources. Like
Yeah.
Black and Hispanic people are like at the bottom
Bottom.
of it all.
Yeah.
Like half of my clients are misdiagnosed
Yeah.
to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh yeah, I'm schizophrenic. I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No,
Somebody-
you're not. Someone
Yeah.
told you were to push paperwork.
And
Push
money.
paperwork and
Yeah,
make you
and
think
funding,
something you're
right?
not.
Yeah. So, but in a sense, I still feel like I've grown so much from the experience of working with the people that I
That's
work
helped
with.
you, yeah.
So it's helped me, and like I feel like it just makes me more grateful to be in the position that I am today.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like it's all happening for a reason.
Right.
Like it's all
Yeah.
working
Connects,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll sit in for me because you know that look is like, what about
Yeah,
you?
so what
Tell me
about you?
you.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're
So
definitely
it's
next.
interesting, right? The way I grew up in Harlem, New York. Some people say Spanish Harlem, but I'm gonna say Harlem, New York. You'll feel me. So I did that. I grew up there, and I never really dissected or like I had a moment of like, dang, I need help
Okay.
Mhm.
because of like how my mom like raised us. Like I was one of 9 kids. My father passed away when I was 7 years old. It was just only my mom and all of us. You know what I
Right.
mean? And we never had a moment. Mom was always like, yo, God's got you. Now, you know, for parents, you know, who believe in Jesucristo, you know how he do. Like, you know, it's hard for you to really be discouraged from a lot of things, at least from a
Yeah.
mom perspective, because, you know, she's the breadwinner. She has to do everything for the household. So I don't ever feel like we had the opportunity to talk about like, Mom, this is how I'm feeling because I don't have father. You know, my
Right,
dad.
right.
This is how I'm feeling at school. So I never really dealt with a mental health issue that I actually like physically, you could say, personally addressed.
Dressed,
Mhm.
yeah.
But I have had encounters where I had people in my life that told me, hey, you can't achieve this because X, Y, and Z. Be more realistic for X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
And it really did paint a picture of inadequacy.
In
like
your
I'm
brain,
not,
yeah.
like I'm not, you know,
I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough. I
Yeah.
can't do it. Oh, wait, I have to stand on the sidelines while you do it.
Right.
But you know what I realized, and I talked to a guy from Honda dealership, and he said the most powerful thing to me. He said, it's not the fact that they don't love you, it's the fact that they can only see from where they are right now.
Exactly.
They can't
in
see
their life.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Their life stopped here.
Right.
Your life exceeds
See,
there,
right.
but they will coach you from where they are, and you
Because
can't.
to them, that's successful. To
That's-
them, they've reached their peak, so they can only give you advice from where they are.
Let's talk about Steve Jobs then. Steve Jobs did the same thing. Steve Jobs was like, I want a
Yeah.
phone that is easy to use, one button, you know, aside from everybody else. They're like, no, you're crazy. It can't happen.
Mhm.
I want a phone that I can use, blah, blah, blah. And you know what he did? He
He
got
made
the
that
phone.
phone.
And look at me now.
Everybody
Click
got
one
the
screen.
phone.
And we had one button. Now we have no buttons. Now we have a face. So, it's a matter of...
better.
Now we got the face.
It's a matter of seeing yourself through a situation while you're in a situation.
Right.
And I think I was always one to wallow in the situation for a time period
Yes.
and then move past it because I knew that I can't. I mean, I don't know. I strongly believe it's because of how I built a relationship with my, Father in heaven. I just really believe that I straightened myself because all my life I wanted to do so much, and all my life I had people telling me I can't. Like I have my foundation. There's still people telling me, "Oh, you can't do this." It has to, The fact of the matter, it hasn't been done, yes, but it's only unrealistic until it's done.
Right.
Right.
Who would have thought your loans would
Absolutely.
get paid off by Robert Smith in 1 year?
Mm.
1 day, just by his words and his actions.
Yeah.
It's only unrealistic until it's done.
Done.
So
Exactly.
when it comes to my mental health, I look back at it as like a trying process because while I was struggling, I also was helping, and while I was in pain, I also was working. And it's kind of interesting how I allowed that to push me while I was still being hindered.
Yeah.
You
It's,
see?
it's interesting how like when you're going through mental health like issues or
Mhm.
just like going through like trying to figure out your mental health, like you could literally be like going under, but still fighting so much that it's like it's kind of like leveling itself in a way.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like a constant battle, like between itself. I personally feel like.
You know, and I say like this, and I know we can transition to the next thing, but like to me, it became like the self-talk. I have the I ams and I have on my mask here. I'm worth it. I'm confident. I'm determined. I'm loved. Now that to me
words of affirmation right there. Those, you know what I'm saying?
I had to speak to myself. You know, the Bible talks about it. People talk about books, talk about it all day. I had to speak to myself to get through it because I knew that I can't be in it for too long.
Right.
And I definitely believe if Jeff Bezos, you know, sat in his garage the rest of his life and said, well, you know, Amazon's only going to be out of this garage, he would never achieve where he wants, you know?
Right.
You have to see yourself through it.
Yeah.
Easier said than done.
Right. Easier said than done, which people make it seem like, I saw it, it's going to happen.
You gonna say, let me, you know, I've deduced it. I say it like this. I deduced it like this, right? This is my motto I came up with recently, right? Hard work plus consistency plus motivation equals a daily action of progress, right? So I have to put the work in to get better daily.
Period.
Make it consistent so make sure I'm doing through it.
It's
then
a
motivate.
flow.
You see? And now I'm looking in the mirror. I can do it. I'm strong. I'm confident. I'm successful. I'm loved. I'm worth it. I'm enough. Every day. Every day.
And you tell yourself that every day, no funny shit, you will just believe it. And it's not even about believing it so you can make yourself believe it. It's actually believing because you know it's true.
Right. And again, it still can be easier said than done. But once you put it into practice, it's really, really
true.
good.
I was gonna add into that. Like I do the same. Like it's a long story, but like I have like I'm very spiritual and I'm like very new into my journey. So I like a good me and my like really close friends. We have like mentors and like we see like a shaman and like these women, like one does like mediumship, one does like tarot, one she's an energy healer, like a shaman.
Yes, energies are interesting.
And energy is like big, and that's one of the things that she made us do from like day one. She was like, you need to make your own like affirmation card. That's your own energy, your own belief system. Get that false belief shit out of here.
Yeah.
Like she's like, she don't play that.
It
so
really
she was like,
you.
and it's true. Like I have my own deck. And every morning, like I read it, I'm like, I'm beautiful, I'm loved, I'm whatever, I accept this. I'm open to this, whatever. And it's like, or like you go to sleep, they have like on YouTube so many like affirmations
that you can sleep to.
I go to sleep to it.
Confidence tones,
and
abundance
it
frequencies.
Binaural beats.
I'm telling you, that thing is...
Because it's just creating a new frequency.
Yeah, and
a new vibration.
Yeah. And to go back off of saying like we didn't know, these are things that we didn't know. Like these are things I didn't know. Like, and
my mom was never like, "Oh, make some affirmation card."
No, of course not. But it's like,
get SO.
You know what I realized? Like, I try not to blame my mom and my parents so much because I realized, as much as I am, like, kind of, I'm upset that I didn't learn it. I pity. I'm sorry for you that you didn't learn it either. Because at the point that you are in your life now, you're not gonna try to. I'm going to. You know, some people that are older, they're stuck in their ways, and they, even if they know it's better for them because they're so comfortable with the way they are, they won't even go for that. And I know that I'm at that point where I have enough time that I can kind of flex it and figure it out my way.
You know what you're saying leads into being a lifelong student. You have to keep learning, keep growing. Keep learning. If you keep, you know what I'm saying? If you keep on doing that, being a lifelong student, you'll always find a niche. You'll always find something new, and then you won't be stopped at what it is.
Yeah.
Life has an interesting way of coming in and telling you have to file your taxes, you have to have a mortgage, you have to get a house, and you have to read books. My God, if you don't do it all, you fail. Right. So now we have the failure aspect going in there.
Right.
But if we become a lifelong student and learn what it means to actually have taxes, and then knowing how to work the system to, get some things, released from it. If we learn the system, how to pay off our mortgages earlier, if we just learn a system, a process like McDonald's, they created a system. The people who, we can go all day. Let me tell you right now. Listen, the people who gave Ronald, I believe his name is, which
Ronald McDonald,
him the arches, the golden idea, they didn't believe, those two people, they didn't believe that, it could be franchised. They said, we tried. It won't work. I'm like, why would it work? And Ronald's like, okay.
Well, I'm going to make it work.
Yeah, I'm going to take this company. I'm going to take it somewhere. So they take it. They did it. Right. So when he took the idea, he transformed the idea. Then he created a system that can easily be replicated in each state, each country, each continent. It doesn't matter what it is. Do you see what I'm saying? So we have to create a system just as that model for us to do that. And it starts with, what's the song? Self-love is the best love. Your love is the worst. You know, so if your love is the worst drug and self-love is the best love, that means she's crying out to tell you that the only way you can get through it is if you love yourself first. That's why I put that here. I am loved. I am determined. I'm confident. I'm worth it. Because it's the most, let's say, sexiest thing you can tell yourself to make you feel better. And it's not going to work like this. But even black men don't get that. Black women don't get that. Hispanic women don't. We all, not many people get that. So when I'm at Morehouse now, I'm at the graduation just recently, I'm seeing my brothers. I'm like, I love you. I love you guys. And you have other black men coming in. I love you too, man. I love you, bro. So I have like literally videos of just like me hugging like my peers, like, yo, I love y'all. I really do love y'all. And you understand, it seeps into their head in a place. It takes
like someone cares for me.
Exactly. Someone actually
cares.
They're
not thinking about it in the moment, but it hits them
later on. And especially if you don't know if that person doesn't have people in their life that cares about them, and now they have someone telling them, I love you, or I love you very much, or anything like that.
And that's why I work on the I ams. I think that is the rudiment of people's separation between the world and then themselves. Because I always tell all my women friends, I tell them, I said, listen, you build yourself up so much so no one can break you. It's not a prideful thing. It's not a cocky thing. It's a thing where you become so strong that you know what you like and what you dislike. You know what works for you and you know what doesn't work for you. And then you adapt from that place of knowing. And then you find your purpose. You find where you're going. And then you cycle the love. You cycle it. Because now when you get in relationships and you're getting in situations, I know I don't like that.
Get him out of here.
Like, you know yourself. Know yourself, know your worth. Value yourself. No, I'm done. True. I'm dropping my mic. Because, quite frankly, it deals with the affirmation, deals with the hard work, then deals with the consistency, then it deals with the motivation, right? Yeah. And then it adds up to your daily mental health struggle, your mental, my last thing.
Okay.
No.
Okay, because I thought about it.
Oh, really good what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. She is really beating her up. But back to the episode. Going on in the back.
It's just okay.
Okay, so my second question for you guys, because I don't even know where we left off, so I'm just gonna ask the second question. What do you guys believe is important for anyone to be aware of if they know someone with mental health issues or battling mental health?
Has to be me again.
I mean, he pointed to you.
No, I don't care. So like, what is important, like that people should know of? I would say to begin with, it's like what I was saying, like the lack of resources, the lack of knowledge. Especially with like our older generations. I think we're the generation that's really like making the change.
Yeah.
I just got back on social media, so I'm like really now seeing people like going hard on mental health, and I love it. I'm like, this is great, because it's a platform that they should be using for that, like one of the reasons. So I would say just like finding the resources that you need, whether that's therapy or like if you need psychiatry, because if you need to be medicated, or programs, or like just like agencies that can connect you, like connect with younger generations into like getting like scholarships or school opportunities. Like even the foundation that you're doing, I think that's amazing, because it's exactly like it speaks for that question.
Yeah.
Like, people are just not like, they have no knowledge of any of this.
Yeah.
Like I think I've helped like two of my friends. They're like, I don't even know how to begin with finding a therapist. And I'm like, I feel you.
Yeah.
How do you look for a therapist?
Yeah. How do you look? Like, who told you that?
Honestly, go around asking people that question. They're like, I don't know. Like, you got to deal with insurance. Like, you got to find a good therapist, because there's some shitty ass therapists out there.
Yes.
And then a lot of the time, a lot of these therapists, like kind of going off on a tangent, but a lot of what I've noticed is like a lot of therapists, no offense to the Caucasian community, but a lot of them are, they're white, so like their experience is very different. So I've seen it a lot, like even in my workplace, like people get some clinical ass responses. I hate that. Like, no one wants to go to therapy for someone to be like, yes, I hear you. You know what I mean? Like it should be, I'm not saying personal, but like,
but you want that connection with that person. It should be a bit more like relatable.
So that's not how I do like things with my clients. Like, I don't talk to them like that. I'm like, listen, I'm from the same community as you are.
Right.
I've been through.
I've seen that.
I've seen it. Like I hear you. So what can we do moving forward? I always say, like, let's make a plan. Like, what do you need
fully,
right now?
Right.
You fully
What do you
address
need?
the problem.
What do you need to be connected to? It's not like, okay, I hear you, and then I'm like pushing paperwork, which is what you see a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I was gonna mention, for a lot of people that are like not connected to therapists, like there's like ZocDoc, that's like a website where you can put like your insurance,
And it'll show you all your
it'll
therapists
show you
that
so
take
many
insurance.
providers
Yeah.
like in network, so you don't have to pay out of
Now y'all in
pocket.
tune. I'm not gonna hold you.
Nah,
Y'all-
facts.
I'm
I've
big
been on
on
ZocDoc.
this. Or
I've been on ZocDoc.
there's a friend of mine. She just told me it's called Urban Pathways, I think, and it's like you can do like virtual
Therapy, yes,
sessions,
I
and
heard
it's
of
like
that.
$30 to $60 a session. I'm like, come on, if you spending $35 on an eighth, you could spend $30
Okay.
on a little
That's
therapy
a fact.
session for yourself.
Look,
Just
look,
saying.
look. She
not playing right now.
Yeah.
That's a fact, and I smoke. So
All the drugs you already know about.
No, but it's true though.
No,
Like,
it's
you spend
true.
$25 like out with your friends getting a drink or eating food. It's
you
like,
could pay for your mental health.
and like if you,
Fact.
you can pay for your mental health. Like I'm not saying you have to, but that's for
Yeah.
people that don't have like Medicaid.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have that luxury. Like,
Yeah.
it's $30.
I would say for me personally, like what I think is important, like with the journey I've had with mental health, is I just feel like it's really important to find what works for you. Like, you know, because I haven't been to therapy. I've tried therapy, like with a therapist, and it was hard for me to find a therapist that I could connect with. And I was like, at some point, I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna keep going to therapists. Like, you know, I'm over it. And I felt like, in a sense, like me practicing spirituality was a way of me finding a way to clear my mental health. Like meditation helped me.
Same for me,
Working
yeah.
out helped me. Like creating a routine for myself helped me like keep
Same.
my mind off of things that I was battling. Like because I created a routine for myself. It was like I know when I wake up I'm gonna do boom 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 boom. So I don't have to think about boom 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 boom. You know, and then after a while it was like, okay, well now I have this routine, and now that I have this routine that's making me feel better, now I can really sit with myself and reflect and talk about the
Right.
things that I'm actually going through, and I can be strong about it instead of me wallowing in it, like you said, and staying in it because I don't have that strong like background behind me to like
Yeah.
fall through. I can't go outside and meditate right now because I didn't know I could, because I didn't know that would make me feel grounded, you know? So I would say finding what works for you as well is a really good thing, because therapy is amazing. I think therapy helps, but sometimes also therapy doesn't help everybody, sadly.
Sometimes therapy
No.
can reverse
The psychology, yeah, you know,
No,
just
no,
like you
no,
said.
yeah,
I know
I
you
was
wasn't
gonna
saying
say
that,
that.
but you know, even like when you said like some people therapists giving clinical, you know, answers, that could make somebody be like, well, fuck, like,
Yeah, you feel like you're talking to a robot.
yeah,
You're
like
you
damn,
clearly
like you
don't
know,
what
you
I'm
clearly
talking about.
don't know, you don't care, and if everybody else don't
Yeah.
care, well then fuck it, like I don't care, like
You know, and it's interesting, like how so we push the therapy, and I'm all for the therapy, like aspect of it all. But I guess let's sum up what you guys said. You know, two
Right.
things. One, thank you for having this platform. Gotta just say,
Okay.
if you don't know, now you know. So
Always.
thank you for the platform.
Of course.
And let's sum up what you guys said. We have to know that you can actually get help. Like there's something, someone, some platform
Yeah, there's
out there
something
Right.
out there
that can help you
Right.
to. And then secondly, understanding your presence and place in that.
Right.
You know, what role?
what role do you play?
We here dropping bombs. So
Very.
it's like, you know, what role you play in that? You know, it's not only, you know, you have a problem, but what role do you play? in-
exactly, because
to
not
make that-
everybody is the problem,
Right.
You know what I
and
mean?
My go-to again, Elijah Dormius, I wallow in the problem. Like today I'm sad because, you know, one of my grandmothers, she passed away. So I'm sad that she passed away. I'm wallowing in this. You know, I'm not going to do anything irrational. But
Right.
I'm going to wallow in the sadness, absorb it, and then work towards making something better out of it.
Right.
Exactly.
You have to not only understand, you know, what role you play in, know that you can get help, but then actually work towards a common ground solution daily. It's one thing to think about it, but it's another thing to actually do it.
Exactly.
You know? And then that statement will be broken down. It's easier said than done. Well, don't only say it,
it's
do
true.
it.
Exactly.
Like there's a way.
There has to be actions behind those
There
words.
is, and for me, again, I would say, like, to your question, it's all of that. It's the answer of all that, but then also throwing in your affirmations and knowing your worth. I put a post on Instagram. Anyone who follow me know that I'm gonna hit you with motivation,
Right.
right? You know, when you understand the value you play, you understand how valuable you are, and then you understand what you accept in and out of your life. When you understand what placement and what role you have in yourself, right? Then you understand like what you let in and out. You know,
Facts.
it's a mathematical game, but it's also a chess. You know, chess is a slow burn. You think you're gonna conquer my queen, or you think you're gonna take over my kingdom? The only way you can take over the kingdom is if you know the game.
And chess is a mind game,
Exactly.
right there. Like,
So mentally, Just like we mentally mess up ourselves with all the other things, like no disrespect to the liquor drinkers and the smokers, you know.
Where you're like,
Listen, I smoke too.
the smokers.
To the drinkers, I say that just like we know that we can have a good time. You know what I mean?
Without doing all of that.
Without doing that, but even with doing that, we need to understand. Instead of drinking our sorrows away or smoking our sorrows, which are depressants and suppressants,
that's a whole other.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
let's actively work. Use the same energy that we take to pick up that glass, or the same energy to smoke, to actually help ourselves. And again, easier said than done, but with consistent hard work, consistency, motivation, you'll get there. Yeah. It's a mathematical equation, and the icing on the cake, I'll say it like this. I told one of my friends, I said, listen, if you can sit here, let's just say, and disrespect somebody, I mean, get to a point where you're like, yo, F this, F that, blah, 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 my teacher got me messed up, boom, boom, boom. If you have all that energy,
right,
transpose that same energy into what you actually need. That extra, you're doing it for teachers, okay, but now do it for your health.
Right.
I told my brother that today. I said, bro, like, you're working like a workhorse. Why? Oh, because I got to get this money, bro, and I got to, I want to make a better future for myself. Oh, I get that, bro. I love that, bro.
The grind mentality.
Exactly. But the grind mentality also deals with,
it affects your mental health.
It affects your mental health and it affects your body.
That's a fact.
It's a mental thing. There's a show. I don't even, it was a show that came on, and a movie. And the guy believed he had these superpowers. He thoroughly believed that he had this power to do this power to do that. He believed it so much at the end of the movie, he transformed himself into it. There's really studies showing how when you actually affirm yourself, affirmation, love, worth it, important, successful, and I can do it, you actually see the result when you consistently work on it.
You shift your mind.
Shift your mind, shift your presence. Now, when it comes to the mental health and the physical thing, I said, well, you seen me. Remember I was in here doing the push-ups? I want to be strong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't want to walk around, and I'm no offense to anybody, I don't want to walk around looking weak. I
don't feel weak.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like when I build my body, build my chest, and I can move the muscle on the chest, I'm like, oh, damn.
I'm strong.
I'm strong. I'm standing up like a peacock.
Yeah.
It's not for any deficiency like in my body or any deficiency for my character. It's more like, okay, I know that true mental health deals with a physical appearance for myself.
That's
meaning
true.
working on my internal environment, not for show, but for me. I want to, you see, I want my packs, I want my chest, I want to walk around, like a peacock. Why? Because I feel like that's my strength. So when I hit it with my motivation now this is daily things. I look in the mirror. I'm strong. I'm confident. I'm successful. I'm a leader. I'm enough. I'm worth it. My foundation will do it. Even with your business, I texted you and told you.
Yes, you did.
I really believe in it so much that it's like the more and more you do it, the more and more you believe in it. So now that I assessed all of that, I'm working on my body, and I also meditate. Y'all don't sleep on meditation.
Okay, I don't sleep on
meditation. I'm in meditation.
I don't sleep on meditation.
Y'all gotta check out the confidence tone. Confidence tones are really good. Like I sit there, and I listen to that, and I do work, and you get a whole other calming environment.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So now you have a niche that works for you. You're a powerful person when you understand your purpose, but you're a powerful person when you understand who you are.
Yes.
And what role you play in your problem.
And I think that's the most important part and most important thing in mental health is also understanding who you are and understanding what works for you, because not every and it's not everything works. Not everything that's gonna work for him is gonna work for you, and then everything that's gonna work for her is gonna work for you. Everybody is their own person for a reason. Everybody can do certain things for a reason. You shouldn't compare yourself to somebody else who's doing something that you want to do. You can do it too. We can all do the same shit. You feel me? Like,
let me blow your mind right now. This is how you need.
Let me tell y'all something. This is not my show today. I'm a guest today. You want the mic?
I told you. We talked about this a long time ago. I was like, I'm gonna create my own podcast too. I'm gonna create my own organization.
And I said, go ahead.
Exactly. And I did look where she's at right now. Look where I'm at right now. It's different type of manifestation.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna blow your mind, right? It's the most mundane thing. Mundane is simple, right? The world needs you.
Period.
Yeah.
The world literally needs you. The world needed Steve Jobs to create a phone that it's easy to use interface-wise for people around the world to use. The world also needs galaxies. People in foreign countries. Algeria uses Galaxy. Galaxy will stay powerful for it. The world needs a Starbucks to find the most beautiful bean in the world to give the world-class coffee to someone. The world needs it because people have a longing expectation of beauty for themselves.
Yeah.
So if you understand that the world needs you, and you understand your placement in the world, you understand your purpose in the world, then you start walking different. The world needs your podcast.
You start talking different.
Exactly.
I'm
telling you,
You know what I'm saying?
Because there's a segment that she is in, right?
Yeah.
That people are listening into. You fit that demographic.
Yeah.
That people will tune in. Oh, this is Mia. Oh shoot.
Which I'm still
What's
in
she
awe
doing?
in that
And
people do that.
Listen,
Like, you know?
I watched her thing.
Yeah.
I watched the views go up. I watched the comments, and I love it because the world needs a Mia. The world needs
Right.
you. The world needs me. The world needs a foundation. The world.
True.
What foundation do you build yourself on?
Yeah.
And then you understand how the world needs you. There's
That's
a
a fact.
problem.
Never thought
There's
about it
jobs
like that.
out there. There's so many jobs out there because there's so many problems. If there's no problems, there's no jobs. You gotta think
Facts.
about that, right?
Right.
Facts.
So the world needs a Mia because there's a mental health problem, and she's addressing it on Mental Health Month. Period.
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 The world, you know what I'm saying? Like what you did in your initial podcast of talking about the sexual health and communication between relationships. The world needs that.
Yeah.
There's a demographic that
Yeah.
you're hitting that needs that. Young people
Facts.
are tuning in. Little
Facts.
do you know, tuning in like, wow, I didn't even think that. Now I
Facts.
see how she
Yeah.
feels.
And,
Now I
and
see
you
how
know
he
what it
feels.
is? I feel like that's something that I never thought. And like I posted something today, and I was like, if somebody would have told me a year ago that I would have a podcast today, I would laugh at them and be like, you know what? That's something I always wanted to do. Like I've always wanted to have a podcast, but now here I am doing it. And it's just because I feel like exactly what you said. Anybody will realize that the things that I'm talking about,
They needed to hear it.
or somebody needs to talk about it.
Someone needed to
And
hear it,
whether
yeah.
it happens now, whether it happens later, whenever it happens, people will realize like these conversations we need to have. And I'll be like, listen, I always wanted to have them, and now I'm having them. Like, you know, like fuck it, like go for it. And I realized
for it.
we stop ourselves, like, and that's something I realized when I was dealing with, not even if I wasn't having mental health issues, but just dealing with a lot of stuff coming at me from my trauma, from my life, trying to figure out my life, that I felt like, okay, even if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm not gonna do it. Like that was always my thing. Like I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I actually doing it because I was never pushed to do the things that I said I wanted to do. And it's not no one else's fault because they weren't pushed to do the things that they said they were gonna do. We were all taught to follow this path. Do this, A, B, C. You go to school, you graduate, you go to college, you get a job, you come out, you get your apartment, you get a dog, get a baby. You know what I mean?
I'm literally waiting for the
We
next
were
question,
taught
'cause
to
I'm about
be.
You know?
Listen.
She's good because
You
we were
know?
taught to be employable, not deployable.
Yes,
It's
you
just-
know what I mean?
Seriously,
Which goes-
I'm literally just waiting for the next
Which goes
question.
into the next question. What does mental health mean to you?
So,
Ooh, girl, go ahead.
into
Let me
it.
pull this up for you.
Like, let's get into it.
Let me pull this my little notes out. I had a little notes on there. Yeah, go ahead.
So no, seriously though, like to get into it, like I said, with like my whole spiritual journey that I've been in,
Yeah.
I honestly, like, I had a fucking epiphany a couple months ago, and I was like, wow, like, now I understand why people say, like, we live in a simulation. Not that I believe in that, but I get why people, like, have this theory. Because we live in a matrix. I say this all the time, I'm like, we live in a matrix.
Yeah.
We are brought up, especially, like, coming from, like, immigrant parents, is like, you gotta work your ass off, go to college, like, get a job, work a 9 to 5 for the rest of your life, and that's it. And
That's success.
You get your pension, and then you retire. You got your kids, your husband, whatever, your family. That's it. And it's like, for a long time, I always felt like, no, there has to be something more.
Something
I
more.
always felt unfulfilled. I mean, like I still do, but that's fine though because that's what's pushing me
Right.
To get there.
to get where I need to be next. You know what I mean? Like,
Where you could feel at that spot where you
Right.
feel like,
So-
okay, I'm good.
like speaking with like mental health and like my spiritual journey, I was gonna add in is like, aside from therapy, like with the women that I work with, I learned so much. There's so many things that like it's okay. I was gonna say that there's so many things that like also play a role like in my mental health today and like my self-care. Like
Yeah.
tarot reading is huge for me. Someday I want to be a tarot reader. Somebody asked me if I wanted to practice tarot a year ago. They're gonna be like I would have been like, what?
What is
What
that?
is
What
that?
the fuck is that? It's just some cards. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Reiki healing, that's a whole other subset. Sound healing, you're creating your own vibration.
Yeah.
That heals. Like meditation, like there's just so
Shit
many
that you
different
never thought,
subsets.
you never knew. Yeah.
And like for me, like I'm currently like in the process where I want to be a therapist, but I don't want to do it within the social work realm because it's just too many politics. You're pushing too much paperwork. You're having a session 30 minutes. Okay.
Where's my mic? Let me
This
drop
was
it.
nice. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Go get your refill for your lithium or whatever, and
Listen.
that's it. I'm over that.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it.
You want a new
That's
way.
why I want to.
No, because you're saying go get your refill. That's the
You
most
know,
part, but it's a serious thing.
But it's true though, and it's like I still want to heal people. I know I'm a healer. I know I'm here meant to like help people in some way, shape, or form, and I want to do a practice of therapy, but I want to do it my
Your way. Yeah.
I want to be able to be like, for example, like right now, I'm really into crystals.
Get your crystals on,
This
girl.
is out of it's kyanite. It helps with like stress. It relieves anxiety. My anxiety. And I'm wearing it right on my heart chakra. Let me go tell that to a client. I'm losing my job. They're gonna be like, your heart chakra, what the fuck is that?
Right.
Like I want to be able to have a session with a client and be like, here, I want you to take some citrine, meditate on it for an hour for this. You know what? You need to work on your sacral chakra. Let's practice some Reiki healing. Like let's do
some
But it's
vibrational
like,
sounds.
There's
like,
only
yeah.
very like I've done my research. There are places like that you can go to, but it's so like it's rare
limited.
to
It's
find.
limited. It's limited.
Where if I asked you right now, okay, so you're gonna go get a Reiki healing, where would you go?
I wouldn't.
You
know.
wouldn't
Can
know.
you break it down for us what this Reiki healing means?
So
You gotta
I'm
know.
not like
Yeah,
it's
it's true.
just so many different things, but Reiki healing has to do with like energy healing.
Yeah.
So like I actually like know someone in Jersey, he does it, and it's like you're basically like laying on a bed and like they're going through each of your chakras and
like
they're
pressure
telling
points.
you like these are blocked, like your I don't know, for example, like your solar plexus. He'll tell you like it's flowing. Meaning
Yeah.
if it's flowing, then you're saying like your
It's open,
solar
you're
plexus,
aware,
it's open,
yeah,
you're aware
yeah.
of it. But like if he tells you your heart chakra, then that has to tell you if like you have an issue with like self-love, relationships. There's some trauma there.
Yeah.
Work on it. You know what I mean? You can't do that if I work in a hospital or an agency.
Because
I can't do that.
you would be you have to be following the
Their
rules of the
guidelines.
hospital
I
and their
lose my
guidelines.
job,
Yeah.
literally.
Nobody would want to hear that.
And it goes back to your beautiful podcast that we're sitting on right here. You gotta love her. We gotta give her praise. If you're watching this, let's clap for her because
No,
that
for
right
real,
there.
though.
How does the
Doing
YouTubers
thing.
do?
I don't know what y'all doing, but she's doing
No,
the thing.
look. How does
So
YouTubers
respect
do it?
it.
Oh no, how does they do it on Instagram Live? Throw some fire emojis and the strong arms in the chat. And tell us what you like. Because let me tell you something. What you just said and what we're doing right here, it speaks to that. So two things. One.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, doctors, people, we as the people,
Yeah.
we get, let's say, an Advil to solve all of our problems. We have a
Right.
headache. But you know, and see, what we don't understand is in that Advil, there's a short disclaimer that has all these different things that trigger certain things in your body that will release certain things that you do not want.
Right.
So we get community medicine for an isolated problem. We don't, doctors do not, some doctors, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional here,
like, wait a
just with a short disclaimer here.
Right.
But we get community medicine to fix one problem.
Right.
The problem with community medicine is that it has so many other disclaimers and different things that actually inflame our problem.
Yeah.
It heals, but it masks. It's like
Right.
a Band-Aid. Advil's only a Band-Aid. Ibuprofen a Band-Aid
Right.
to
It
numb the
is.
pain.
Yeah.
And no one actually treats the pain.
Right.
They treat you with community medicine for, okay,
Money.
right now, let's break it
For
down more.
pharmaceuticals.
For pharmaceutical research,
They make
right?
their money.
And then go from there.
And
So
you're
now,
okay for 3 hours.
and
that's
then
it.
after that, now you're back to
Now
something
you're
you're not supposed
back
to
on
be.
Right.
it, and then it's just
Now
a
you got
cycle.
another medication, another
It's a
medication,
cycle.
another
You see?
medication.
And then here's what you said too, which really is so much more impactful too. It's like, so we have a beautiful Mia here creating a podcast that's so dynamic. We have an Elijah creating an I Am Foundation that
Right.
believes in
I
the
love
people.
your energy.
Right.
Oh,
It's
man.
just like,
Listen.
yeah, like,
No, because I'm hungry.
this is his show. It's not my show today.
I'm hungry for you and you. Let me tell you something. You will create something, right?
No, I'm like in the process of like figuring it out, and I have like my mentors like helping me.
Yeah.
with
In that.
It's just like it's complicated because it's just like where do you even begin from? You know.
And you know
That's
what?
like
You've
the
been greeting.
fear
I'll
in
tell you
it.
like this. That's how my foundation began. And I'm gonna read this. I gotta read it to you.
Read it.
But you
Yeah.
begin from that problem, which you again. You already know you're a beautiful, brit, beautiful woman.
Thank
so we
you.
already know this.
Right.
You too.
Thank
already
you.
know.
I know this.
Dynamite. Give me a little pound, man. Stop playing. Stop playing while you're man. If you don't know her, get to know her. Listen, but you start
love
with the
him,
problem,
y'all.
and then you go from there. And because she broke it down for y'all. If y'all don't know, y'all better stay in tune. Listen, she literally broke down the problem. Oftentimes, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, our therapists or organizations give us certain guidelines that we have to follow.
Right.
And we do this, we do that. And if you exceed this, you do that. So we understand now that the problem is you can't actually have free-flowing reign to actually treat a problem.
Right.
You solved the
Right.
problem right there by creating a solution. You said,
Yeah.
well, how about we dissect this, right? And let's create boom, boom, boom to fix in the chakra so we know what actual points are actually hindering you.
Right, right.
And now you have
Yeah.
a solution and now you have a business. It's beautiful. If everyone took the time
Yeah.
to do what you just did and what you are currently doing, there will be so many businesses because the world, back to what we talked about originally,
Needs us.
And then back to what we are targeting, we oftentimes are trained to be employable all the time. Work for this, do this to work for this.
Work
never,
for this person.
Never
work for yourself.
Right.
But
Never
you know
work
what
for
I
yourself.
realized in my life, and this is why my foundation will do it. I've realized, and it's a harsh reality, not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur.
No.
Period.
Yeah.
But entrepreneurship looks different to each
And
individual.
different. Which is what I said.
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
can work in the veterinarian field right now, but you're managing your own hours, you're running this, you're running that. That's your definition of entrepreneurship, baby. Go
Right.
ahead.
Yeah.
Teach yourself to be deployable. You're doing the damn thing.
Exactly.
You are in the therapy field, you're in that mental health field.
I just want to
healing.
heal people.
Exactly. And in that healing,
And
you're
it's-
finding different nuggets that
right.
are making you
And
build
there's
your
so
own.
many different forms of healing, and that's
Exactly.
the thing. We're brought up as
Right.
in like conventional therapy,
Right.
conventional medicine is the
Right.
only way, and it's not
Right.
You
at
know,
all.
and what makes it even 10 times beautiful, which made this foundation like come to being, it's that willingness to not accept the problem.
To take that risk,
Right.
to what is it that to question what we
Question what it is.
we already know, what we already think is okay.
It all
Once
makes
you start questioning it is when you start realizing, okay, I'm about to flip this shit because
Right.
I realize what I've been taught, what I've learned, what I've seen is not the only way. There
Right.
can be another way. There is a risk I can take that can make me go a different route. That even though it's a risk, because risk there is reward though. You
I'm
you
trying to
can.
drop my mic. Let me drop your mic. Let me take it out. Listen, no, because she's
screwed in.
Yo, let me take it out. No, it's the fact that you said that because this is my
Read your message.
My
Read your
history
message.
that I wrote for my foundation.
Read
Right?
your
They gotta
message.
hear the
And
message.
you got to hear it, right? And
Let's
I wrote
hear
it
it.
very specifically. I said,